It is said that our attitude determines our altitude, and this week we learn of a story that begins 20 years ago in the corner of a mechanical shop with an idea and a service that now goes global. The aviation sector in our region is a going concern, but with virtual service, it's time to fasten your seatbelt.
Steve, line 1, please. Steve, line 1. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been fully tested. We certified them with Transport Canada. We tested them on aircraft, and we've been selling them for several years now.
Thunder Bay seems to me to have a real big inferiority complex. And I think it's one of the reasons is a lot of people have never been away from here. So they don't get to see what it's like in other places, and they don't understand how good we have it here. My wife and I will be in a conversation with someone, and we'll bring up some good news about them. For instance, the molecular research. And the instant comment out of everybody's mouth is, well, that ain't going to replace the mill jobs. Those guys can't get jobs there. Well, it's hard, really hard, because we're in a different economy. We're not going to be hewers of wood for the rest of our lives. Certainly there's going to be a component of the wood industry in Northern Ontario. There always will be. It's like mining, it's like the grain industry. We're going to have a small piece of it. But we aren't what we used to be. And people have to recognize that. And unfortunately, the biggest component of people still in the city are the ones who are being affected by those jobs. That's my take on it. And I was physically doing all the work myself. Had a rivet gun in one hand and a drill in the other hand, and bashing away on sheet metal, doing structural repairs. The furthest thing from my mind was being able to travel, being able to have my own business where there was enough people that I could travel. I wouldn't have conceived of that at all. When we first started, we weren't doing parts. We were just doing service only. And it was some Twin Otter operators that came to us because I had a background with Twin Otter aircraft and asked us to do repairs on them and refurbishing them. And that's how we got into the market. The aircraft were going out to new owners all over the place, and they couldn't find parts. So they would phone us up and say, when we were there, you got our airplane out on time, and you found all the stuff to do it with.
This particular one
so
is...
can you find us this widget? And we'd say, well, yeah, that's easy. I know where those are. So the next thing you know, we were in the parts business. In 1988, we signed up for a thing from the Northwest Enterprise Center at Confederation College called the Small Business Owner Development Program. And we attended those. It was all in the evenings, and some during the day. People would come here to help us. And that was a fantastic program. I was a mechanic, and they helped me learn to be a businessman. They taught me how to read financial statements. They did all kinds of things, and they had it in seminar format, which was really easy to take. Today, there isn't anything like that out there. I think we need to have something like that. Each time we hear one of the good news stories, like the university getting the medical school, we tell everybody about it. My wife and I try to talk to as many people as we can, and when we get into conversations, we ask people to wait a minute, think about this, look at the good side. Sure, your neighbor's laid off, but there's other jobs coming. So that's what we try to do, is to promote that. We also talk to a lot of people about the things that we see when we're overseas. There's a lot of nastiness out there. So we see a lot of poverty, and we see a lot of things in countries that, they're awful. And then we come home, and it's great. We tell a lot of people, send your children away for about 2 years. They don't have to go to a third world country. They just have to go to Toronto. Get a taste of that life down there. Some of them love it, 90% of them come back with a great appreciation of Thunder Bay.